any evidence of him.
Have you seen the
being
new
there.
Mission Impossible film?
I've seen the first half of it.
Okay, I've seen the second half.
I haven't seen the second half.
Um,
I saw the first half in anticipation of the second half, and then have heard from everybody I shouldn't have done that because the first half of the second half is the first half.
Yes, it's significantly less enjoyable, the second one. Do you know what it's weird about? Well, not weird, I guess, when you consider who Tom Cruise is. It's like a very not a very well disguised like Jesus analogy. I imagine it's almost like whatever Scientology's version of Jesus is. But basically, Tom Cruise is the Messiah. Like last week when we had,
I think that is Scientology's version of Jesus.
Yeah, right. Okay, so
you know what I mean, like I think part of the DNA of how we know about Scientology has been we can't like put it any other way. Tom Cruise is the most famous of all Scientologists.
Yeah.
Like we know this is a thing that has been invented within our lifetimes. L. Ron Hubbard lived in our lifetimes. Like the people who've run it are the first generation of people who've really run it. It's only been a couple of generations of people, enough that people can be born into it or recruited into it. But like we've seen it all happen. And the most famous person who has always been committed and emblematic of the brand seems to be Tom Cruise.
Yes.
I think he is the Jesus of Scientology.
And that's how Ethan Hunt is framed in this sequel. When we had Spence on last week, because the plot centers around AI and this, this entity that's got this AI,
so the entity was introduced in the first half of the
and it's going to take over the whole.
Yeah.
And he is kind of the amount of scenes where he is kind of spoken about, like Ethan Hunt, as being like the only human, like who can possibly stop this. The most trustworthy. If you had to put the power of this entity in one person's hands, like you wouldn't trust any politician, but you'd trust Ethan Hunt. And there's all these like shots of Tom Cruise like walking in slow motion over the mountaintops. There's like a voiceover will be like, "He's the bravest. He's the strongest. He's
Jesus.
It's really on the nose." And I don't.
Don't you reckon he's Jesus?
I don't remember
but better
the other.
Because he does his own stunts.
Yeah, I don't remember the other films being quite that heavy-handed. And it's so. The other thing about it too is it's so earnest. Like these are goofy films about people who wear rubber masks and pull off these giant espionage setups. But this film they take it so seriously. Like everyone is so po-faced and taking it so seriously. The whole film I was like, it feels like Tom Cruise is like, oh, I'm aging out of being able to do this. He's 60 something now.
That's right.
So the last one I'm going to do, I'll hang off an airplane or whatever you want. But also I want to come out of this being Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's the natural conclusion of the story arc.
Yeah.
Is that he's Jesus. No woman can tie him down. He's bloody Jesus.
It feels
he's just out there doing his own stunts, saving the world. You know what he's saving? Cinema.
Yes.
He's cinema Jesus.
Yeah.
He's Scientology Jesus.
Yeah.
He had his doubters. He jumped on the couch. People got weird about him for a while, but he won us back.
He's
through a series of box office miracles.
And that's what it feels like, is that he is he's attempting to he did a really good rehabilitation of his image through the last kind of five
and by making
Mission
us
Impossible
forget
films.
that he was a Scientologist for a
yes,
while.
but now it feels like he's like,
I got you again.
He's let his freak fly. I'm still a Scientologist. And I'm I mean, when you look at me with it being 62, my hair's still brown and my skin's still tight, like I'm weird, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little weirdo. I'm a little muscular little
So
weirdo who likes to hang off airplanes.
Fly,
it's so freaky
right?
the whole time. I even think I mentioned this with the last film.
I like it.
Is when he's flying on a plane, you can really see all the surgery that's been done. When his face is getting blown by wind, like you can sort of say, oh, they've tucked the skin on his face back here, and there's like a little joint mark there. It's not I wouldn't say he's a vain actor, because you watch this and he's making himself look so weird.
Yeah.
But
he's doing it on behalf of a higher cause.
That's right.
And that higher cause is like maybe in his personal life Scientology, but I think in the narrative of popular entertainment, he is movies. Like those
the
last
action hero.
Like genuinely, right? Like he is the guy that we have personified to make movies, and he has bought into going, yeah, I can be that. Yeah. I can fill that role of the guy who loves the movies. I'll awkwardly banter about how much I love popcorn. It's because I'm the guy who loves the movies, and I can be that for you. I'll do all my own stunts, and I'll be the guy who loves movies, because right now you need a guy who just loves movies, who's pretty good at making movies.
I ran into Alexi Toliopoulos, and we were both talking about it, and I was saying, what did you think of it? And he's like, well, personally, I love films with exposition. And I'm like, oh, well, you would love this film because it goes for 3 hours. And I'd say half those scenes is a group scene where you have 7 people in a room and one of them will go, how do we hack into the Pentagon's computer? And then another guy go, well, we have to access the codes. And then third person will go, but the codes are located under a bench. And then a fourth person will go, the bench is secured by 2 guards. And then a fifth person will go, but if the guards, and they do this, the camera just goes round and round as each person just takes it. And it's like a theater sports game, like one line at a time storytelling.
If you skipped all the stuff that could be explained by computers, right?
Yeah.
That none of us have the information to be able to, like if you're setting up where the team have to go to get the thing, great, fine. I like a bit of exposition about, like I don't necessarily need them to just suddenly be in Moscow and like getting a thing. I like to know why that thing was in Moscow and why they needed to get there. But you can skip everything up to computer, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I don't know what any of that stuff is that you're saying or what it means.
Everyone relax!